Hey guys, so in today's video, I wanted to break down this beautiful ICT JUDAS swing trade that we took this morning on GU and EU. Both of these trades hit TP and netted us a beautiful 2% this morning, closing out this month for a total of 11.5% gain on the account in this slow December month. So what I thought I'd do is break down this trade so that you guys can come and see exactly why I took these trades and maybe learn something new. So whilst we're on the topic of the signals group, I did want to mention that currently we are having a Christmas sale. So we have dropped the prices 30% off everything. If you are looking to get involved, please head over to the Discord in the announcements channel and there is a link right there to sign up. But apart from that, I just wanted to say that this month has been absolutely beautiful. 11.5% gain on the account, especially in a month like December when the markets are slow. So having said all of that and getting it out the way, let's jump straight into the analysis. So the first thing that we do is we pull up our JUDAS swing framework. If you haven't got this already, I'll leave a link in the description. You can download it for completely free. Right, so the first thing that we do is we figure out our directional bias. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to remove all of these drawings from the chart so that we have a fresh, clean chart. I'm going to replay, and this is where we started off with. So I woke up this morning, and the first thing that I realized is that, yes, we are in a bullish market because price is giving us a higher high, a higher low, and then somewhere here, we're waiting for price to give us a higher high, a higher low, and then a continuation, right? So that's what we're kind of looking for. But right now, we're stuck in between this complex pullback. We don't really know what's going on. So the higher time frame is telling us that we're bullish, but we haven't got a real sense of direction in this price action right here. So we drop it down to the 1 hour and we can see that on the 1 hour, we are bearish. We've got a lower low, lower high, lower low. We should get a lower high before a lower low, right? So this is just a complex pullback on the lower time frame, understanding that our higher time frame is bullish, right? So basing it off of this, my anticipation was a high quality trade that I would be looking for is something like this, right? So what I wanted is to essentially draw out the Asia session range. So let me mark out the highs and lows. And right, so we're understanding our bias and we figured out that we're bearish. So I wanted to take sales from this area of interest up here, which would have meant that price would have had to come up, sweep the highs, and then give us an entry, right? So I'm looking for sales. We figured out our directional bias. So the second thing that we do is we realize that we are waiting for the JUDAS swing to happen between 7 and 9 a.m. UK time. So this is the time window where we're looking for the sweep of either the buy side or the sell side. So we mark out our Asia highs and lows because that is our liquidity and that's what we're looking for price to take out. So once we see price take that out, we're then going to wait for a market structure shift, right? So let's jump straight back onto the chart and here we go. I've marked out the highs and the lows and we've got this area of interest where we want price to come up to give us a nice solid entry. So then when I woke up, I saw this 15-minute inside bar up here and I thought that is perfect. I thought if price can give us a higher leg, tap into this inside bar up here, then give us a market structure shift, I would love to take an entry down just like that. So that was my anticipation for this morning. However, that is not what happened. So if I play price on, you can see that price did get close, didn't break the highs, but instead swept the lows. Now, when price swept the lows, this is when I started to think, okay, price has now swept the lows. Is there a trade to be played here? Or do I just let it go? And then I realized that down here, we've also got this inside bar that's sitting right here, right below the Asia lows. So yes, granted, on the hourly, we are bearish. However, if we take a look at what's actually happening, price is stuck in between this high right here and this low right here. Therefore, we are in a complex pullback in between this structure. And if we can see on the 15-minute, we are actually in bullish structure, right? We've got higher high, higher low, higher high. So we should get a higher low down here and then a continuation higher, right? So that's how I was anticipating price. And I thought, you know what? We've swept the lows. Let me drop down to the 1 minute and see if I can find any sort of entry, because we're inside of this 15-minute inside bar. So then I thought, if we get a market structure shift with intent, I'll be more than happy to take this trade. So now, see, the interesting thing here is that we swept that 15-minute inside bar, which gave me even more confluence, because all of the liquidity that was sat right here has just been swept. So then I was like, okay, now this is shaping up to be a really solid trade. So then I had my structure marked out like this. So we had a lower high, sorry, a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Now, if we break this up here and we get this higher high, then I'd be happy with taking a trade down here before price giving us a higher high, right? So I marked it out, and right here we got this beautiful market structure shift. So once we got this market structure shift, I said to everyone, here we go. EU buy limit, let's put it in and let's ride the wave. So now that we've got this market structure shift right here, our next step is to figure out our entry. So where do we start looking for an entry? Well, the first place we want to identify is this is where price broke structure to the upside. Therefore, as we can see right here, we had all of this consolidation in this area. That means in this area, there was a lot of orders that were building up, and then we had this massive push to the upside, leaving a fair value gap. So I thought this would be a perfect area to wait for price to come back to, because there's a lot of orders stacked in this area. We've left the fair value gap behind. So then all I wanted to do was put my entry right here, and then I wanted to put my stops below the low, because as we're all aware, the stops always go below the low because they are now protected. And the next thing that we do is we target the opposing liquidity. Now, if we go back to the framework, we can see that once we get a market structure shift, we identify a fair value gap, which will be our entry. Our stops go at the most local high or low, and then we always target the opposing liquidity. So we've now followed the framework. We've marked out this trade. We've come to the end. We've placed our limit orders, and now we simply sit back and relax. Yes, price missed us here. It ran away, but then it came back. Price came back, tagged us in, and then it started to chop around for a little bit. But then after it started chopping around for a little bit, bang, price flew straight to our target, which is the opposing liquidity, which is the Asia highs, and it done it with ease, right? It just flew, absolutely flew. So as we can see, this was posted in the group. So this was the EU buy limit before it happened, and then this was the EU chart after it happened. So as we can see, that was a beautiful, beautiful trade marked out perfectly. And what I'll do is I'll also jump onto the GU chart so that I can show you exactly what it was that I was looking for on there as well. So let me remove all of these drawings and let's jump straight into it. So again, the first thing that we do is back onto the framework, go to the top, and the first thing that we want to do is figure out our directional bias. Now, when we're looking at the directional bias on the daily, we can see that we are bullish. Higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So now we're anticipating a higher low, which got placed in the other day. This is the trade that we took, which was my previous breakdown. Now we want a higher high. So our daily bias is bullish. On the 4 hour, similar to EU, we are bearish because we've got lower lows and lower highs being printed, right? But again, this is just a pullback on a daily. We drop down to the 1 hour and we can see that we are very bearish. We've got lower lows and lower highs being printed. Therefore, the similar situation that happened on EU was also happening on GU, right? So I marked out my Asia highs and my Asia lows. Let me replay the chart as well, just so everyone knows where they are. Right, So I marked out my Asia highs and my Asia lows, and then the next thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to see price come into this inside bar up here, sweeping the Asia highs and giving us a sell trade in here. Same concept as EU was what I was looking for on GU. However, as we all know, that is not what happened. Having marked out the Asia highs and lows, if I play price on, we can see that price got close to the Asia highs, but instead decided to sweep the lows. Now, when price swept the lows, again, the exact same as EU, I saw that we had swept all of this sell side liquidity. When I saw that we took this sell side liquidity and left it in such a state, I was like, you know what, this could again very well be shaping up for a beautiful trade just like EU. So the next thing that we do is, again, we wait for our market structure shift, and we get that right here in 1 second, and there it is. So let's mark out this structure. We've got lower low, lower high, complex structure, lower low, break of this consolidation right here up here, and as we can see, we are in this complex pullback. So I was waiting for price to actually, before taking an entry, I was waiting for price to break above here. So now that tells me that now we are no longer bearish, because otherwise price would have come down and broke this low. We've now broke above here. So now we are bullish. We want to expect price to come back and give us a higher low before giving us a higher high, right? So then once we've seen that we've got this breaker structure right here, what I did was I actually jumped onto the 5 minute, and from the 5 minute I had this fair value gap marked up just like that, and then I placed my buy limit right there, which it got tagged into. Stops below the low, targets at the opposing liquidity. And again, if we jump back into the Discord, we can see that GU buy limit was placed right there, and then GU take profit right there. So that's how I had price marked out. Price tagged us in, and then boom, just flew straight to the TP. Both of these trades absolutely beautiful this morning. The Judas swing played out to perfection. The framework was followed down to a T. We figured out our directional bias. We were within our time window. We marked out the liquidity, waited for a market structure shift, identified our entry criteria, put our stops and targets in place, and then we just let price play out. And as we can see, both hit TP, and alongside that, we had an 11.5% gain on the account this month. So if you guys have made it to the end of the video, please don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you haven't done so already, join the Discord and make use of this Christmas sale.